All right, good evening, everybody. Let's call this meeting of the Water Commission for Tuesday, September 19th to order at 6 p.m. Everyone is here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. That brings us to item number 4, the first citizen comment period. I'm guessing there's no one signed up? Okay, great. Item number 5, business items. The first business item that we have up for discussion is the minutes for May. Seems like it's been since November, right? The minutes for May. So any corrections to the minutes on the right? Anything on the left? All right. Can we get a motion for approval of the minutes then?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous approval for the minutes. That brings us to business item 5B. The Utility Department Monthly Activity Report. Stephen, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. For the month of August, we pumped 39.17 acre-feet out of the Edwards with a total for the year of 210.13, with a remaining of 291.40 acre-feet remaining. As of today, we have pumped 230.74 acre-feet. As of today, we have 257.72 acre-feet remaining. For the entire year, we have lost, due to restrictions, 160 acre-feet. We have 103 days left till the end of this year. If we were to stay in Edwards Stage 4 for the rest of the year, we'll lose an additional 73 acre-feet. So from what we calculated, if we were to pump 1.5 acre-feet or less from now until the end of the year, we'll have about 20 to 30 acre-feet remaining, depending on usage and whatnot, because usage should start going down quite a bit, so we'll have somewhat to play with. We have pumped 101 acre-feet from the Trinity Aquifer this year, with a total of 483.24 for the year. All required distribution samples were taken and passed. Water loss was 2.4%. The Utility Department completed 332 work orders. August restriction alerts was 917. It was up 111 from July's alerts. We had 4 leak adjustments were submitted, 3 were approved and 1 denied. An update on the construction that's on 2252. Since August 8th, when our contractor started on the project, they have trenched approximately 920 foot from the front of Arrowwood headed west to Hickory Bend, and installed approximately 900 feet of 12-inch water main. They have also bored under Tonquah Pass and Hickory Bend. They have been delayed somewhat because they have to dig carefully because of a 4-inch gas line and other utilities that are sharing the trench that they're in. So they have to be somewhat pretty careful, and digging rock with a backhoe, that's the safest way to do it at this point. If you were to have one of them big rock trenchers, those really show no mercy wherever they're at, so that's why they're using that right now. But once they get past some of those utilities, they should be going pretty quickly through there. And that's all I have really to report.
Can we bring up those slides from the council meeting real quick? So since Stephen was just talking about the 2252 work, there's a few slides here that Samuel gave at the city council meeting, some overviews of this sort of overview of the entire project. And if you keep scrolling, there's some pictures of some of the work that is going on here. You see some of the trenching and some of the bends they've had to put in. Keep going, we'll see some of the trenching some of the boring they had to do. So you can see they're boring under several of the driveways for these businesses and putting in the 24-inch steel casing to run that water line through. and another one, I forget which one this is. Oh, this looks like right by that, what's that
They had to
subdivision?
drill a casing underneath that culvert right in front of Arrowwood also, so they had to dig
Arrowwood.
pretty deep on all those boreholes.
Yeah, if you've seen those things, to get the boring machine in there, they dig pretty deep.
There's the gas line right next to the water main right there. So they have to be pretty careful. They'll have to tie that up to the side while they're digging in some cases. Sometimes the gas line was installed with directional boring, so they have a top surface that's solid rock. They have to jackhammer and kind of surgically go around that gas main.
Yeah, and those are 4-inch lines, right? Gas
Correct.
lines, pretty big lines.
And once said and done, those gas mains are going to get pulled out after they're done installing their new gas line that are closer to the edge of the right-of-way. There's quite a bit to do.
Yep, and you saw in the last one, there's some more utility lines, and there's you can see the people in the boring pit there. See how deep it is.
So along with checking to make sure our sand depths and stuff is correct, when they lay that main down, they have to have a certain depth of sand underneath and then 12 inches on top. And then they have to make sure they had that electrical tape, that caution tape. It's kind of a foil-looking tape that goes on top of it. And then along with that, we also have to do a stormwater inspection also that's required for our MS4 along with that. So there's quite a bit going on with that.
Nice. And I think this is the last one, the schedule, just so y'all can see the schedule, what it looks like for the 2252 project. Just give this a minute for everybody to take a good look. But if I remember, Stephen, the bottom line on all this is they are on schedule right now.
Correct.
And as y'all can tell, Stephen's been doing a really good job of keeping tabs on these guys, and he's reporting to council and to the mayor pretty much on a daily basis of everything that's going on. He's keeping real good tabs on it and doing real good communication with all the impacted businesses and folks that are out there. Sorry, Stephen, took a little bit of your time there and made you talk some more. Did you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Anything you want to add? All right, any questions for the Utilities Department? Starting on the left.
Whoops. Oh, got it to work. The drought impact, have you seen any impact on the Trinity? How far have our wells dropped?
Not that I can tell. I know that the GPMs do go down a little bit as the aquifer drops, but once we start getting rain again, our GPMs will increase because the water height is higher up in the well. So that's really the only thing we can see is just a GPM droppage.
And how about, since I don't have it, the water usage? Did we see a decline with the stage 4? Or?
We're starting to see a little bit of decline. We were like at 1.4 million gallons a day, and now we're jumping between 1.1 and 1.3.
I've noticed sprinklers and some other things when I leave for work in the morning. So are we giving notices to those people?
We still knock on doors, and I believe PD is giving out citations.
Sure, I was going to cover that in a little bit, but
Okay,
I'm going to cover it
that's
right
fine.
now. It's no problem. So there was I think most of us probably got the message from the chief that they are, we've been in the at least stage 2 drought for quite some time, and that they're going to start issuing citations for people that are not responding to the multiple notifications that they've got for watering violations, watering outside of their times, or on days that are not authorized. So it's been a year, probably time to take some action on some folks. I'm guessing we probably have some repeat offenders, and that's probably what we're thinking about there.
Some repeat as well as people that just is out of the allowed watering times. So we've been in stage 2 for a very long time. People should have been able to adjust their sprinkler systems and, should know by now the watering periods as well as their watering day. So citations will be issued moving forward until we're out of this.
Does that answer your question there, sir?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Dr. Carmichael? Didn't mean to interrupt you, but,
No, that's more than answered my question. I appreciate it. Thank you.
okay. Any questions for Stephen on the right? Okay. I think we are to, items applicable to the Water Commission discussed at all the council meetings that have happened recently. So I've got a lot of notes here. I'll just try to hit the high points, but certainly happy to go into any additional detail that anybody feels like they need. I think I do want to bring up, as you looked at in Stephen's report, when you looked at the unaccountable unsold and how we had a significant drop there that happened in May. We found a leak back then. I can't remember if we discussed that in a meeting or not, or if that's been, since it's been our last meeting. And there was also some folks that were tapping a fire hydrant also that we caught and took care of that. I think that's not happening anymore, but good job, Stephen, on keeping all those leaks down and everything. I know in one of the meetings there, I think it was the June meeting, Councilmember Valdez discussed, or I discussed AMI accuracy with the council, and Councilmember Valdez talked about that, and we emphasized the system is working as designed. And then, we talked about some things that we were looking at to try to and some education efforts and making sure that everybody was aware of what was being reported and not reported in the AMI system. Had that conversation with council. Moving along, I know obviously it was budget season, so there is a lot of budget work. If you are curious what's going on there, I think now if you go to the website, you can certainly go to the specific portions of the council meeting that you want to see. So if there's questions here, I encourage you to go do that. The point is that there are some amendments to last year's budget and then next year's budget were all approved. Everything makes sense. I think some highlights were some increased capital expenditures on some equipment, and yep, about $200K more for capital expenditures in the upcoming budget that is on there. But once again, I think you can look at the April 14th special meeting if you want to see the approval and see the final budget that went up. Talked about 2252. I think that is everything that is applicable to the Water Commission there. Nancy, do you know if there's anything I missed out of all that? Ooh, all right. Any questions on the right? Any questions on the left? All right, great. So we'll move on to business item 4B3, Water Master Plan Update. Ms. Kane, back to you.
I know many of y'all have been wondering the status of our water master plan. I've looked over it, Stephen's looked over it, Councilmember Valdez has also looked over it. And we have found some things that water master plan that need to be corrected and updated. There are some projects that have been completed that remain in the master plan. I would, asking Stephen to put some input into what he feels needs to be done with our water system, since he is now Public Works Director and responsible for that system. It does need a lot of work, so it is not ready to come to Water Commission quite yet.
Along with that, just a quick comment for me before we go to other folks. I know we've talked about this in the past. I don't know where we're at about the tanks, and is there a long-term plan for tank maintenance, or does our SCADA system need to get upgraded? I don't know how far out the master plan actually goes on this one, but just those are some considerations that I would throw
Okay.
out there as y'all continue to review.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and start on the left on this one. Any questions or comments on the water master plan? Dr. Carmichael? Bill?
Just to clarify then, how's that, how did that, well, that's a dumb question. Going forward with the rates, are there going to be any impacts on the master plan versus the budgeted items, or is the near future already accounted for?
This master plan should not have any effect on this year's budget. Once we finalize and get the master plan into where it needs to be, it could, some of the maintenance and upgrades that we may want to make to the system may be implemented into budgets in subsequent years. That can't be included in the master plan. There are some maintenance things that we're not going to be able to include in that. But this will allow Stephen to take a better look at where we need to be maintenance-wise, as well as where we need to be in enhancement and improvement to our system. I hope that what I'm saying is making sense.
It does. Just to make sure that the staff is comfortable that there's no surprises in the plan, right? Because it's a couple of years late already for the 5-year cycle.
Right.
But we've accounted for any of those gaps and everyone's comfortable. That's really all I'm asking. I'm getting a head nod.
We will
yes.
make sure that before it's brought forward, we will make sure that we're comfortable with where we are today and where we will be in the future.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Could I do a slight do-over, maybe piggybacking on that, because I know Stephen didn't say we've had a big reduction, but I don't know how the drought and the stage 2, and maybe if we go to a different stage, will that impact the budget if we're using a lot less water?
Yes, the drought could impact will impact our water sales, just like a rainy season could impact our water sales.
All right. Any other retext from anybody?
I'm not 100%. I think what we're saying is that the drought reduction plan is reducing water we would have otherwise used, but it's still using more than had it been a wet season. So, I mean, it's a drought. We're still using more water than we normally do. It's just less than we would have without the restrictions. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
what you were asking or not. Is that fair?
I,
I mean, we're still pretty high, so when we have a hot, dry summer, the revenue actually trend is to go up. If it continues and gets to much higher stages, then who knows? But we're basically stopping the increase as opposed to decreasing is usually the effect.
Yeah, that's fair. We did that demand study a while back, and the primary factor on demand was temperature. And rain had a slight maybe a slight negative correlation. It was small. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. All right. Anything else on the master plan? Something comes to mind, feel free to email Michelle if you come up with some other things that might come up for them to look at, because this is a continuing process that we need to go through, and she'll get it to the right place, right? Which reminds me of something I forgot when we were talking about city council meetings. I do remember that there was a letter of appreciation to Michelle, because she always has a great attitude whenever people call and have questions about the water. So thanks, Michelle. Appreciate that. I almost forgot that one. That would have been terrible. Okay, that's it for the water master plan updates, item 4B3. So we are to business item 4C, recommendations. So what we have here is, in accordance with ordinance 210, we have 3 commissioners that have expiring terms. And that's myself, Vice Chair Harshberger, and I think Dr. Carmichael. Yep, looks right. So we have those 3 terms that are expiring. What we need to do here is we need to provide a recommendation to council. I think this mainly depends on the willingness of those 3 members continuing to serve, and I would really hope that all 3 of you are. Well, I will agree to stay on the commission. I hope the other 2 of you wish to stay on the commission also. I know that we have 2 empty spots, and also would like for y'all to reach out to some of your neighbors out there to see if we can get some more of these billets filled, and hope that y'all will stay on and continue to serve while we're a little bit shorthanded right now. So with that, I'll go ahead and go to the individual members there, and then we'll see if we can get a recommendation out of this. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Vice Chair, you first, or are you willing to stick around to be nominated for another term?
All right, so, looking at the little sheet there, there's one more box left to fill out. My intent was, after 8 years, new voices are needed. So I'm not sure it'll go through the full 2 years, but given our circumstances, I am willing to continue at this point.
Thank you. Dr. Carmichael?
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. And I will say the last 2 months haven't been overburdensome, but I'll continue.
Thank you. So we've got all 3 of those commission members that are willing to stick around. So what I need is a recommendation. Or Don, one of y'all.
Recommend reappointments for the 3 open positions.
Got it. So we had a recommendation to, and we have to forward that to city council to, what am I trying to say here? To reappoint. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. The 3 commission members that are mentioned there. All right. So we have a recommendation to forward that to council.
Recommendation for
Okay.
reappointment, forwarded city council reappointment for 3 positions.
Thank you. We have a recommendation. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a recommendation and a second, and everybody can vote on this. So all in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you. All right, so that's our recommendation to City Council for reappointment, covers that 4C 1, Roman numeral 2. That brings us to D, any future agenda items. So just looking for a subject and not necessarily in discussion now, but things that we need to put on the agenda for the next meeting to discuss, starting on the right.
I think it's already been mentioned, but we're in the rate study / process discussion timeframe. So I think staff will have some recommendations, but we need to get that on the agenda.
Ms. Kane, does that make sense to you? For next month's agenda for a possible recommendation to the commission on water rates? Yes. Okay.
We discussed, and Chairman has briefed City Council about the education efforts to get more people signed up to the portal and use its capabilities. I'd like to add that as an agenda item to review our ideas on that, where we stand.
Okay, review ideas on increasing, was it AMI or was it for the portal sign up? It was portal sign ups, that's what you
Really,
said.
portal sign up, correct?
I think the educational effort in general, we could discuss some of the outreach,
Got it, education and outreach.
and I'd like to get better acquainted with some of the stuff Michelle's put together and what we got. I got to go look at the web myself.
Okay. Anything else, sir? You good?
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Carmichael, anything else? Okay. Don, you got anything?
I was going to piggyback on how effective has the farmer's market education been doing? Has that had any effect as far as the sign-up goes? Kind of piggyback on what you've already talking about as far as education programs?
Okay, got it. All right. So we got water rate. We got reviewing the ideas about increasing portal sign-up, and then another item there, education outreach, including some analysis on the impact of the farmers market engagement. Good from everybody? All right. Great. All right, I think that's all of our future agenda items. That brings us to our second citizen comment period. You don't have to be signed up for this one, so any citizen in the audience would like to speak? All right, that closes item number 5 there, and that brings us, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn, a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that adjourns our meeting at 6:28 PM. Thank you.